Hi guys, and Happy New Year. This is January 6th, 2019. um, this video is part 2 of Mousey's lunging video. So this is after he had gone over towards the other horse. I walked him back over and restarted him. And this lunging session was actually from November 3rd of 2018. And I hadn't really done anything with him in a while. And this is where we were at. And if he's had time off, he usually does kind of act this way, like that. He just tests me. He tests me a lot. But we ended really nicely. And I do have a couple lives that I had done after this, and you can see how he had improved. So when we do continuous work, he starts off a lot better. And he gets better. And the way he was trotting around here and even loped a couple circles ago, I wasn't asking him to do that, but you could see he was trotting around with his head up in the air, and he's just kind of upset because we moved back to the center. And see, he's still kind of a little upset, testing me. And we did end really well though. And that's just the way he is. See? It's like I stepped in front of the drive line. He wasn't paying attention. That's why he acted that way. It was kind of like a shock. Like, wait a second, because he wasn't paying attention. He's not there. We're not connected. He's wanting to see, he's moving back over towards the other horse. He's wanting to get over there and not wanting to be where he is. So he's just kind of not paying attention and pouting. He's like a little kid that's wanting something and he's not getting his way. He acts out here and there, and I'm just staying calm. Some of the things that he does, you know, when he does his little things, can be intimidating, and yeah, I just try to stay calm and let him do his whatever he's gonna do. I don't reprimand him for that because I can't. He hasn't done anything in a while. And I know him too, and I think most of them are that way too, where they're going to do what they're going to do, and I don't make a big deal out of it. I just let him do it and then just correct him and keep going. And he's starting to relax a little bit more now, so I decided to move along with him and make the circle a little bit bigger. And he's still not totally with me and totally relaxed, but we're getting there. We just kept going. And actually, I don't know if I've ever done this with him before, where I walked along with him. So he is doing really well with this. And I did try something that I was doing with Chansey. I tried it with him too, and he's never done it, and he did really well. And he stopped better that time. He's paying a little bit more attention. And what came to me too is like some things that I'm going to work on when it gets a little warmer and nicer outside. Instead of starting him this way, when we start back, I want to really work on, from a standstill, just him disengaging his hind end, and also, which that means pivoting on the front end, pivoting the back end around the front end, and also vice versa, or pivots from a standstill, and so pivots on the back end from a standstill. And work on that a little bit before we start our lunging, so he's maybe paying a little bit more attention to me from the beginning. And watching this video again, it's always fun to watch videos after you make them, because you learn a lot about like the things that you're doing. And I notice sometimes I do step back here and there, and I feel it when I do it. And he was moving me over towards the other horse in that first video, and I'm thinking if we work on some of the other things before we start the lunging. Like I said, the disengaging the hind end and him paying attention to me more from the beginning, that won't happen as much because I'm little and I kind of have to pick my battles, and I knew he was kind of fresh too, and so I'll step back a little bit and kind of go with it and go with the flow, even though I felt like he was crowding me just a little bit. And eventually he did end up over next to the other horse. We just stopped. We found a good stopping point and walked back to the center. And he's being a lot better now. He's getting some of that energy out. He was just kind of full of energy. You know, it's been a while too, like I said, and we just didn't have our connection. And yep, right there, he's just kind of resisting a little bit. And he does get better with that too. You know, it's been a while since we did that too, where I step in front of the drive line, and that one wasn't as reactive as the first one. So, okay, that one was a little bit. But that's why I did it like quicker. So I think I work on it, if I remember right, I work on it a couple more times maybe. Maybe not. No, I guess not. Oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, see, it's like I kind of have to pick my battles. I'm little, and he can just like yank me around, so I try to do things really easy and calm with enough firmness to make him do what I'm wanting him to do. So, and I didn't ask him to canter there. That was just his reaction to me doing what I did. And that time I asked him to disengage his hind end instead of stepping in front of the drive line and asking him to pivot on his back end. And I think maybe I did this a couple times instead of asking him to pivot, and I'm not sure what that was about. Just him just yeah, being a stinker. Him not getting his way, him just not wanting to pay attention. And I was trying to figure out if I had asked him to canter or if he took it upon himself to do it. And I think I might have asked him, because it doesn't look like I'm trying to get him to jog or walk, and I wouldn't have let him go that long doing something that I didn't ask him to do. I would have made him stop and pay attention. And watch this coming up. This will show you where his mind is. That was actually a nice pivot on the back end. Probably a little overreactive. I didn't even move my body. I just switched the stick and lunge line. And he just took it upon himself to change directions. So he was a little overreactive. And that's okay. We'll just keep going. Right now he's on the reactive side of his brain instead of the thinking side. So we just keep going until he gets to where he can think right and we get a connection. Wanting to crowd me a little bit, I stepped back just right there. Another thing, if you watch him, how he turns his head in towards me, he's trying to make it so I'm not behind the drive line, and he'll turn his head into me, and that changes the position where I am. And I think that's another way that he's trying to control where I am and doesn't want me back there. He's just trying to control the situation because he doesn't want to move his feet. He's trying to move me, like right there. See how he turns his head in? He's not wanting to move his feet, and he just doesn't want me back there. And that's okay. We'll just keep going. We'll keep chipping away. And like I said, we did end on a really good note. It took us a little bit. I think this session was about 40 minutes. So in the beginning, especially with him, it's a little more give and take. And I just try to adjust my pressure according to what I'm feeling from him, because if I do too much too soon, he can just be a little overreactive and rebellious. And it's just better if we go slow in the beginning and take it easy and work our way up to more pressure, either by the end of the session or starting into the second or third session. I just like to take my time with him because I can feel how reactive he can be in the beginning, and I just kind of feel him out and adjust my pressure or increase my pressure. So I don't increase my pressure too much in the beginning when we don't have a connection. I wait until we've gone further into the session and our connection is better before I start to apply more pressure. So when I lunge them, I like them to do what I ask them to do. That one was a little bit better, but see how he kind of gets in kind of close. And right here, this was better. I swung the stick and string a little bit more at his shoulder to move him out and away because he's wanting to cut in a little bit. And yeah, he stayed out a little bit better there. And I didn't ask him to trot there. And that was a better one there as far as him staying out. Those first 2 or 3 or so, he was overreactive and he was testing me. He was wanting to kind of come in towards me just a little bit to try to dominate me and control me and make me move my feet because he didn't want to move his feet. So on one hand, he's doing what I want him to do, but on the other hand, he's not happy about it. And he's being resistant and not wanting to move his feet. So, but he moves them, but then he wants to try to control me too. So we're kind of having a power struggle of who's in charge, who's the leader. He's listening and obeying, but he's kind of being a little rebellious too. And him saying, I think I want to be the leader. That's kind of why we worked on the change of directions for a little bit there, just to get that ironed out a little bit. And if you let something like that go, like where he's wanting to cut in and trying to get me to move my feet, that just turns into worse problems later on, both on the ground and in the saddle. And I'm really looking at that stuff a lot more than I used to because he is a young horse. He's going to be 7 this year, but still I haven't done a whole lot with him. He's not that far along. And he does take advantage. He does try to be the one to control you and dominate you. Just with those little things like that, I never thought that those were like a big deal. And maybe with some horses it wouldn't be as much of a big deal. But with him it is, because those little things that he does are things that can turn into big things later. And I'm really seeing that I have to really stay on top of those things with him because he does take advantage. He can be a really, really good boy, you know, and especially after we work some of those things out. Like by the end of this session, we had worked those things out and he was good and we ended on a really good note. And I try to do that with all of them where, you know, you just get to a place to where you're ending on a good note. And although we started off a little rough, and but I can't blame him because, like I said, he hadn't been worked in a long time. So we just chipped away at everything and ended on a really good note. But I can see how, definitely with him, how those things can turn into things where you start to have problems under saddle and stuff. And he's just one that you have to show who's the leader, and, you know, you have to be... He's sensitive too, so you have to be firm, but you have to be gentle and fair. And anyway, this is the end of part 2. We're going to go on to part 3. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.